Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk. Today's topic is going to be Ghostbusters, and I'm joined by Movies Lover Unite host John. Hey John, how are you? And right away, just to get it out of the way, we're powered by Poddex, as I'm sure everybody's aware by now. For about a month now, we've been sponsored by Poddex, and if you want to help if you want to help support the channel, excuse me, just go to the link that's in the crawl below and use the redeem code of NERD21 to get 10% off any physical merchandise on your first order. That's a really super simple way to help us out here on the channel. And also another way it's really super and simple to help us out. And unfortunately, as I'm doing these right now, I'm going to have to do the question answer sessions as I get them in the next recordings. But I restarted my Streamlabs account. So if you go to hotelnerd.live, you can type in any questions or comments about today's episode, and you can just send in a comment or a question, and I will acknowledge it in the next recording or the next live taping, whichever one happens to come next. So, and with that, also, I wanted to make one more acknowledgement that we are making progress on the podcast front. I went and checked the numbers today, and we almost did a 70 count jump on audio, which I'm super impressed by. I was not expecting that. And we're still holding steady on YouTube at 58 subscribers and still holding steady at 178 hours watched. So we need to be boosting them numbers, because as those numbers get and we meet the YouTube goals, then we can start doing some monetizations through YouTube as well. So everything we're doing is trying to help build cash flow to make this channel better. So, but with the business out of the way, let's talk about Ghostbusters. We've been trying to do this since October.
Right. It's good now that I actually have a little bit of a break to where I can do this, so I appreciate being on.
Yeah, and greatly appreciate you being patient with me and my work schedule as well. Because if you're free, I'm not, and vice versa. So, we talked about it. We're going to go chronologically. So let's just dive right into it. Do we want to start with our favorite moments from the first one?
Yeah, we can go on for our favorite moments for the first one. And not only that, but with Ghostbusters as well. I remember as a kid, I had all the action figures and things like that. I don't know if you had the action figures or not, Chris, but I had
I didn't.
I actually had all the action figures. I had the firehouse. I had the hearse. I had all the Ghostbusters stuff. I even had the Halloween costume. I was decked out with Ghostbusters stuff, even Ghostbusters comforters. I was obsessed with Ghostbusters and still am. But as far as my favorite scenes go, I'm gonna have to go with the opening scene in the library whenever they're all there and they see the ghost, and then they're all saying "Get her," and then the ghost just goes on and leaps out at them, which is one of my favorite scenes in the library because it's really spooky. It's really spooky down there, which is something that I really like for the opening scene. I also like the other thing with Dr. Venkman when he's trying to pick up on this girl and he's giving the boyfriend electric shock therapy so he can sleep with her, sleep with the girlfriend. So I thought that was actually pretty funny. And then also too, yes, it's true what you heard. This man is a dick. Then, of course, you can't go wrong with Moranis being in this movie.
Very true.
Where he keeps locking himself out of his apartment, trying to get with Diane. He has no chance of getting with Diane at all. But it's kind of like us as nerds where, it's what we can't have is what we want the most. And and of course, he has a big, huge crush for her. So he's going to bend over backwards for her, do anything that she wants him to do. So that's what I got out of his character.
Yeah, I have to say my favorite moment has to be the Getter moment as well, especially when he goes, "Shh, do you smell something?" Like, it's like, even as a kid, I'm like, wait, the fuck?
Then there's also the other scene that I liked whenever Rey has sex with the ghost. And then
I forgot about that scene. But yeah, that's there. I totally forgot about that scene.
yeah, because that's what happens with the whole marshmallow thing at the end,
Yep.
which I thought was really funny for that setup, but also very wrong at the same time.
Now, my favorite line in the entire movie is I'm trying to remember how he says it. Call it fate, call it karma. When they're talking about launching the Ghostbusters Incorporated.
Yep.
Like that line, just the way he delivers it, because he has like a melody to his voice, and I think only Bill Murray could have done that. To where he has a melody to his voice, and then he like pauses, and then he does it again, and then he pauses, and then he finishes it out, and it's like I don't see any other actor that could have done that at all.
No.
Like, I can't think of one actor that could have pulled that line off like that.
No, and it actually feels like an advertisement. It feels like a legit.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it look real and authentic because of that pause and everything that he does for the commercial.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it,
and to your point there, the new Ghostbusters Afterlife, that line is in the Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'll be honest, I wasn't really on board with Ghostbusters Afterlife watching the trailer, and then I heard that line. It's like, no, they're seriously doing this. And then the way that they used it, it's like, okay, let's go. I'm in.
Right.
Let's put the proton packs on. Let's fucking go.
Exactly, because it's all about the delivery of the line and if it's actually believable or not. Because sometimes they can have the line in there and it's very forced. But it's another thing to actually do it perfectly, like Bill Murray would do it. It's hard to find something like that, and for them to use it in this Afterlife trailer tells me that it connects with the original universe, and also too, the delivery of the line wasn't forced. It didn't feel forced in the trailer. Mm-hmm. So as long as it didn't feel forced, I like it.
It didn't feel forced in the movie either, and that's what was so great about that line. Like that. Most of the lines out of the first movie didn't feel forced. Now, some of the lines in the second one didn't feel like true Ghostbusters fare to me. The one line in the second one that does feel true Ghostbusters to me is where they go, Do, Re, Egon. And everybody looks at Egon like, seriously? You chimed in with us? And Egon gives the look like, yeah, bitch, what's up? Like, that's Ghostbusters.
Right. To me, I enjoyed the second one, but for me, the dialogue didn't really feel that bad for me. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it again.
Some of it's cringy, especially the Rick Moranis stuff. It's like,
like which parts are you remembering? I'm just
when they're babysitting Oscar.
Oh yeah, okay. I can see your point with that.
That's totally not Ghostbusters at all. That was them trying to have like a rom-com involved with Ghostbusters. It's like, no, just no. Right. If I wanted to watch Sleepless in Seattle, I would watch Sleepless in Seattle. Like
Sleepless Seattle and Ghostbusters. But
no.
But you know, that scene right there was basically them doing something where it's like, okay, where can we put these two characters together?
Yeah,
and
basically because everybody loved them together in the first one.
Right.
When Andy Potts and Rick Moranis are together in the first one, those are some of the most golden moments in that first movie. And they're like, okay, let's do this, but more. And it's like, it doesn't feel right though at all. it felt good in the first one because Moranis was possessed by that point.
I think if they went around it at a different angle, maybe they're on a date together rather than watching Oscar.
Well, see, that was supposed to be the point. They were supposed to be on a date while watching Oscar.
I'm talking about like an official date, not like babysitting date. Babysitting date feels like teenage date.
And I think that's part of why it makes me cringe every time I see that scene. Like, I always have the notion that I want to fast forward that 10-minute sequence because it's just like, ugh.
But I understand why it's there, but at the same time, you can still have her watch Oscar, but without having Rick Moranis there.
Mm-hmm.
And it would still be horrifying because she's defenseless by herself rather than having Rick there.
Yeah. Because doesn't Dana and Bill, Peter, they run in right there as Oscar's being kidnapped, correct?
Right.
Because I remember them going out on the windowsill.
Yeah, Oscar's out on the windowsill, and then that's when Bill Murray, goes on ahead and looks out the window, and then we see that ghost come out with the baby buggy and everything, and then goes back over to the museum with Oscar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they could have actually still had that scene because there was no reason to actually have Rick there. It wasn't like Rick was this big, strong, tough guy that was going to defend her at all. So, they could have actually just went on ahead and just had her by herself. And then as the baby's being taken away, Dana and Venkman has to go ahead and try and save Oscar.
Mm-hmm. And, I always thought this. As much as they make Dana be the damsel in distress in both movies, I would have liked to have seen Sigourney Weaver don a suit. Instead of Rick donning the suit, I would have loved to have seen it been Sigourney Weaver instead. Because she had something to fight for. She had something to fight for her kid. Rick's just like, oh, I want to do this because I want to be cool like the rest of these guys. Like, one of these isn't like the other.
Well, I think back then with the 80s, don't forget, Dazzle and Distress was all they knew. They didn't have strong development for their female leads until now.
I have arguments for that. Sigourney Weaver wants to have words with you. Alien.
Well, with the exception of Alien, though, it's all about the writing and who's writing the script. But that's another thing. But I feel like that she should have been the one who was the evil person in the very first one. The transformation of that character. Because
honestly, it kind of felt like it was going to go that way.
Right. And then you can have
that she was going to be a Gozer incarnate.
Right. Because you can have Venkman in there trying to calm her, trying to get her soul maybe out of Gozer. But still, it would have actually fit natural. But I like what we got in the first one, but the second one, they could have actually done a lot more with to make her a stronger character than what she was.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that's where she was the most dazzle and distress was in the second one.
Yeah. The first one, she was
a victim.
She was like that out of place caricature. And I mean, for what it was as a comedy, and a lot of people don't realize this, but Ghostbusters was actually deemed as a horror movie at first.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that, and people are like, no, Ghostbusters is a comedy. I was like, yeah, but look back. Originally, it was listed as a horror. Then it became a horror comedy.
Right.
And now, it's just a straight-up comedy.
Exactly. With horror elements in it, but still... I wish that they would have gone a little bit with... I feel like the first one was mostly a horror movie. Basically, what they were going for. I really felt like it was more of a horror movie than a comedy.
And they had funny elements in it.
Right. With the second one, they went straight up comedy with. Especially when you look at the ooze with the toaster.
Oh, yeah. As soon as they did... See, the most scariest part for the second one, if we want to go the horror route, was the courtroom scene.
Okay,
That's where I felt like they were in most danger.
How about the subway when they're down there in the dark?
Oh, the train. Yes.
Yeah.
But see, I don't feel like they were in danger there. They got the shit scared out of them. Which, let's be real, that would scare the shit out of anybody.
Right.
But especially seeing the heads on pikes.
Yeah.
It's going to make you have some PTSD after that shit. But, no, danger-wise, I always felt like the courtroom scene, they were in more danger with that than they were in danger with Vigo. Vigo just seemed like a very super watered-down version of Gozer.
Well, you just have a painting that comes alive.
Yeah.
And that's it. To me, if you want to go the horror route, you can use like ex-cons that died, like they did with the courtroom scene.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because that scene alone, when they want to do it, but they're not allowed to do it because if they do, then they're breaking law. And they're like, okay, so here's your choices. You're either going to get yanked out too, or you're going to let us strap our packs on and we're going to kick some ass. Pick your poison. And then he's finally like, fine, go, just do it. Court's adjourned. Do whatever the hell you need to do. And then they go and they strap up, and I still feel like they're in danger there, though, even with the packs on. Granted, they know what the hell they're doing, but I still feel like there's that little sense of danger because you don't see where they're at initially until they start throwing the chairs, which, honestly, I thought that was a pretty cool sequence, by the way.
It was a good poltergeist feel to it, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. I did get a poltergeist kind of feel for that part alone inside the courtroom. But yeah, one room scenario where you don't know where the ghost is coming up at you or anything like that, and you're trapped in a one room scenario, that's actually horrifying. Because I like movies that are shot in one shot where basically you just have one room that the character is in, and that room is basically the character. And
give me a minute here.
It's okay. But basically, that room becomes.
You can keep talking. Just bear with me a minute.
Okay. But basically, that room becomes the character inside the courtroom. I really thought the courtroom scene was really good for what they did with the second film and things like that. But for me, I want to say that also too, the subway scene alone is scary as hell because think of it like this: you're walking on abandoned tracks, and you're not being.
And then you hear the train,
right?
And you're like, it was portrayed really well because you hear Rey go, "You guys hear that?" And then he goes listening. He's like, that's got to be above us, or it's got to be beside us, because this hasn't been used in over 100 years since the big crash that shut this train rail down. And they're like, okay. So they keep walking, and then it gets closer, and then you kind of sort of feel it, like in the audio. It's like the chugga 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 chugga.
It's getting louder at that point.
It's getting louder, and it's like, okay, so obviously we as the viewer know shit's going to go down.
Exactly.
And then you have Winston, that they're focusing on Winston, and of course, because they focus on Winston, you know some really whacked out shit's going to happen, because, I mean, let's be real here, when they focus on Winston, some really whacked out shit always happens.
Everything happens to Winston every single time.
Always! Always! Actually, you can't say always, because Winston was not the one that got possessed. But, no. Then Winston turns around, and he's like, guys! And then he turns around again, and there's like this whole row of pikes, and it's like, what the fuck?
But
Like, I want to see an R-rated Ghostbusters film. Can I just say that right now? I want to see a dark, gritty, R-rated Ghostbusters film.
Directed by James Wan.
Absolutely. I would be there in a heartbeat.
But yeah, I would like to actually see that too, to be honest with you. Something fresh for a change. Do you want to focus on the trailer with Afterlife a little bit, or do you want to just talk about the first two films still?
We can touch on Afterlife. I mean, we kind of already have a little bit. I love the fact that they're playing homage to Egon. Can I just say that straight up off the bat? Because I still remember where I was when I found out that Harold had passed away. I was at a hospital at a doctor's appointment for my son, and it took everything I had for the Ghostbusters fan in me not to just break down, knowing that we lost Egon. Because I didn't know he was sick. Did anybody else know he was sick? Because as far as I know, nobody knew. It's kind of like the Chadwick Boseman of the MCU. Nobody knew he was sick. You look at him in Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame, 21 Bridges. If you haven't seen 21 Bridges, do yourself a damn favor. Watch that goddamn movie. That movie is intense.
And the Red Bloods, though, too.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It was good, but you can actually tell that he lost over amount of weight, more than what he did with 21 Bridges.
Well, remember they all said, well, he must have lost it for a role.
That's my first initial
That was the story. The story was he lost it for a role.
Right.
And then come to find out, no, he's dying of cancer. And I feel like that was the same way with Harold Ramis, except Harold Ramis was completely quiet because he wasn't really doing anything. He was just at home with his family.
He was always a quiet person, though. Harold was always
a
quiet person.
Fair point. Yeah, I think the last thing that he did was the Ghostbusters video game.
Yeah, that was actually the last thing he did.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that was it. That was once that game came out, he didn't do anything else.
The last movie I saw him in was Orange County with Jack Black and Tom Hanks' son.
Okay.
It's like a little small thing where Tom Hanks' son is trying to get into college, and he's actually one of the college professors. Or the dean of the college. And they actually get him high.
Yeah, I love that. And they didn't have to say his name. And honestly, I knew exactly who those kids were immediately as soon as I saw the Morse, Folds, and Fungus. That's a classic line from Egon from the Ghostbusters movie.
Right.
If you're a big Ghostbusters fan like I am, and like you are, you know who these kids are. They're Egon's grandkids. So naturally, Egon's going to have the old suits. There's probably a couple proton packs down there in the basement. I mean, hell, the ghost trap. I can't wait to see Paul Rudd in this, by the way.
Me either. That's what
I'm curious. I'm curious about that, especially with the demon dog, which means if the demon dog's back, that means Zul's back.
Right. So my question is this: do you think that with these kids having these jetpacks and the traps, do you think that maybe they accidentally let them out?
Well, but judging by the trailer, it seems like they're already out.
But you know,
because
how kids are,
if you watch when they're at the coal mine, when they're at Shandor's mine, which anybody that didn't catch that, rewatch the trailer. Shandor is referenced on the sign to the mine that they go to.
That's right.
So Igor Shandor, I think is what his first name was, he's going to play big in this movie, which means that it's going to tie directly into 1, 2, and the game. Because the game even makes it a point to make him a big point.
You see,
I think he's actually isn't he the main? I think he's the main villain in the game. Shandor is the main villain. Like, you have to kick his ass.
Oh shit!
In the Ghost Dimension, pretty sure.
Okay.
I don't know. I have to replay that game. I might do what. I might actually do a gameplay on that on Twitch here for Hotel Nerd. So I don't know. Just talking about it, I kind of got a feeling that I want to do that now. But no, honestly though, I saw that name on the sign, and it's like, as soon as I saw that, my cousin was sitting beside me, and I was like, dude, Shandor's in this. He goes, who? Wait, what? Shandor from the original game, the one that built the fucking building that Gozer was on. He's like, I don't remember that. I said, you don't remember them talking about that in church? Or not in the church, in the jail cell? And right. That's where Murray goes and says, everybody getting this? Like, right. They're talking about Shandor right there. It's like, oh, got it now.
I like how it links back to that, though. So it's connected.
Yeah.
And it also keeps everything fresh, though, too, on a bow, on like a birthday gift to us, because it actually feels like it's new and fresh, and also keeping some of the continuity that we learned from the first two films.
And you think about it, it makes sense that Shandor had a mine.
Right.
He had to get that material to build that building somewhere.
Exactly.
He had to get the building to build the island in the game somewhere. Like, so, I mean, if you can't tell, once I wasn't invested in the trailer the first time I watched it until I heard Bill Murray's voice make that classic line. And then I rewatched it. And then I was like, I got that. I got that. I got that. I got that. It was like, okay, now I'm really, 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 really ready to go. And then they pushed it back not once, not twice, but 3 times. It's like, okay, come on, you bastards. Just give me the fucking movie.
Right. But, you know, I'm glad that they're doing the homage to it, the lineage to it, because of the fact that with the other one that we got with Melissa McCarthy, it was just cameos here, cameos there, cameos everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't need to be like that. You could still have the cameos in there and keep it fresh.
Well, and the problem with the 2016 version, and I catch a bunch of shit for this every time I bring this up, I hated that movie. And not for the reason that people think. I didn't hate it for the fact that it was an all-female cast.
Same.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it being an all-female cast. Go for it. That said, honestly, that cast sucked ass. Just my personal opinion.
To me, the
only good one was the one that was playing the Egon character, and I can't even think what the hell her name is.
She does a good job. I forgot her name, but I've seen her in
the rest of them are trash in that movie. Even Chris Hemsworth is trash in that movie. And that's terrible because I love Chris Hemsworth as an actor. And it kind of is a black mark on his record for me now. But it could have been all-female cast, I would have been fine with it. People think immediately, because I hate that movie, I hate it because of all-female cast. And that's not the case. Storyline was terrible. The trailers made you think that it was going to be a direct connection to Ghostbusters 2.
Yep.
And it's not even close.
It was his own story. It didn't even know what it wanted to be. And then
it was an alternate universe that's like, what do we do now? Like,
and to be honest with you, there was certain aspects I liked about it, but they could have done so much more with it. I wish that they would have actually traveled outside of New York and went to like China or something with the Great Wall, or do something different.
You want to know the one aesthetic that I actually loved about this movie? And I said that this should have been done in Ghostbusters 2. The sidearms. The sidearm laser guns. Fucking loved them. That sequence is amazing. And again, it's the Egon character that has them. And she just wrecking fucking shop there at Times Square. And it's like, and that's the shit that Egon would have developed. And and I can see that would have been Egon's badass moment, because everybody else has got a badass moment through the first 2 movies, whether you agree with that or not. they all have their intertwining badass moments. And they're not always fighting ghosts when they do them. But they all do have their moments. Egon's really the only one that doesn't have a badass moment.
And this time they gave it to her. They gave the Egon character, a female character, a good, awesome moment. This other trailer and everything with the Gatling gun outside of the hearse, it feels like our cartoon, the cartoon of Ghostbusters. It feels like it's come to life. And
yes, because that was a big thing in the cartoon was the side chair swinging out.
I was geeking out over that. That was my favorite moment of the trailer and everything, because I'm like, okay, I'm sold on Paul Rudd. And all the Easter eggs and everything I was sold on. But I'm like, what else does this hearse do? Then all of a sudden, the Gatling gun comes out and everything.
It's got a gun, you see?
That was my favorite thing. That thing, because I felt like I was 6 years old again on my couch watching Ghostbusters.
Well, does anybody else notice that in that scene, the kid that says it has a gunner seat is the youngest kid driving the goddamn car?
Yeah.
Like, anybody else got a problem with this? I mean, granted, having a nuclear proton pack on your back, driving a car. I think driving a car would be safer.
But still, it's going to be a fun movie. I'm sold on Paul Rudd. I'm interested to see what his character does.
Paul Rudd's Paul Rudd. Can he do any wrong?
No. And then
I don't have complaints about Paul Rudd. I mean, I'm not an Ant-Man fan, but Paul Rudd made Ant-Man enjoyable.
He did. And I really have to say, I'm excited about this new Ghostbusters movie. I feel like a kid again. I can't wait to see it. Going back to the very first Ghostbusters movie and everything too. I liked also the scene where Dina is sitting in the chair, and then all of a sudden you see the claws come out of the chair that she's sitting in, and then she just slides right into the doorway. It's like, okay, what the hell happened?
All right. Well, two things I want to point out real quick. First one is in the trailer for the new movie. Did you catch the Easter egg with the stacking books?
Was that a callback to the library?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes, that is right before he goes, remember that summer when we died underneath the table?
Yeah.
That was at that moment. Like, so I caught that right away. And then back to that chair scene that you were just talking about. Do you ever notice that when the hand comes up and like grabs at her chest, it's actually groping her?
I didn't even notice that.
Once you see it, you'll never unsee it.
Because I always thought it went here.
One of the actors caught a feel.
I thought it went from here for a minute, and then it goes to her face. But I thought it was just like a quick thing. It went from here to here.
Oh, no. No. Once you see it, you'll never unsee it.
I could see that, though. I could see the person in that chair like, okay, I actually have a moment to do something freaky.
Yep.
Because I've seen her in Alien, so let's see what happens if I do this.
Yep. But yeah, you happened to mention that chair scene, that moment popped in my head. I have to say, probably there's two iconic moments from the first movie that I can think of. Is where it's like, choose your destructor, and Bill's like, no, nobody choose. And then Ray, being the idiot that he is, just pops in there. Like that sequence right there, the pops in there moment is like that. I like that, because then once they see Stay Puft walking through the street, and then everybody's like, I need to go back to the firehouse and change my pants.
I thought it was perfect.
And then the bit where Gozer says, "Are you a god?" That whole sequence there.
Then
Right.
also
When somebody asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
Then I also like the other thing though too when they're first getting started and they have to go to that banquet dinner.
Oh, when they destroy the banquet hall.
Right.
Especially when they're flipping the tables and you see the pencil dick person on the other side of the door. It's like, what? What?
And then I like how Bill Murray bills them for everything that they destroy.
Oh, the flowers. And the flowers are still standing. Come to find out, I watched the Netflix special. I can't remember what it's called.
The movies that made us, or
yeah, something like that. That scene was impromptu. Bill just did that to see if he could do it. That was not planned. Bill just did it, and it just happened to work. So they went like, and we keep it. We keep it. Like, and you can actually see the hard cut where like because when he goes and the flowers are still standing, and then Rey says something about okay, we need to clear this area, and it's like immediate hard cut from that to Rey. Because it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned at all.
And you can definitely tell that Bill was just as surprised that it worked.
Oh yeah, you look at his face when he does it. He's like oh, nice.
That was a great scene. And then also too, you have Slimer that winds up sliming him,
which was supposed to be a representation of Jim Belushi,
right?
And that's also, while we're on that subject, being we're there now, how different do you think this movie would have been if Belushi would not have passed away? Because Belushi was in Belushi was going to play Venkman.
I could definitely see Belushi being in it than anything, and having Dan Aykroyd there with him.
Do you think it would have resonated as well?
I would think so, but it wouldn't have that chemistry that we would actually have now, that we love and know. But it's all about the delivery of the lines and stuff like that too. If those lines were delivered in that same way, in the same context, because it's actually hard to know, especially when someone had died. You know, if they would have actually played a certain role a certain way. Because a character, whenever someone's acting, has a different mindset on what the character should sound like, and also what the character should act like. So I think we would actually got a different character performance out of it than what we got with Venkman. To be honest with you.
Do you think that they would have kept Venkman as trying to woo over Dana? Or do you think that would have been a different character?
I could see Belushi doing that, to be honest with you.
Do you?
I could definitely see Belushi trying to do something like that. Because I've seen him in Blues Brothers. I've seen him in National Lampoon's movies and stuff like that. I can see him trying to do something like that, to be honest with you.
I haven't seen much Belushi. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, if you watch National Lampoon's Animal House and everything.
Is that the one where he goes, look, I'm a zit?
You look at that one and then watch Blues Brothers. I don't know if you've seen Blues Brothers or anything.
Oh, it's been a while.
Okay, well, just watch National Lampoon's Animal House and then just go and watch it on that, and then watch Ghostbusters, and you might actually see aspects of Belushi's character in that character. Okay. So I could actually say, hands down, he would actually be picking up on that girl, But as far as anything else goes and everything, I think that he would actually have a different motive for that character and a different way of style in doing it. We wouldn't have had that one scene where Bill takes off that tablecloth and said,
Yeah,
"The flower."
and another one that he improvised was the piano. The
Yeah,
they hate this. Like that was Bill Murray on the fly as well.
that was an awesome moment for Bill though. For those two moments, I don't see him. I don't see Belushi doing that. I don't see him improvising with the piano as much as what Bill did and everything. I could see him probably improvising a little bit, but not on the level of what Bill did.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me being spoiled off of the first film with Bill Murray, though. To be honest with you, because I'm spoiled off that film.
So I'm going to test your trivia here a little bit. Do you know Slimer's original name? What they called him on set? What they were going to call him in the movie?
If you wouldn't have had asked me this right now, I would have known it. But I don't remember it.
Onion Head.
Okay, that actually fits him to a T on that.
Do you know who was supposed to be Winston initially?
Wasn't it like Eddie Murphy?
Yep. And Eddie Murphy passed it up, I want to say, for Beverly Hills Cop.
Yep.
Which honestly was a great move. That was a great move on Eddie's part. Yeah.
Because if he didn't pass that up, somebody else would have gotten it. Could you imagine Winston maybe getting it? That Bernie might have gotten the role for? No. I'm just saying if the roles were reversed, where the two actors winds up switching roles. But
there was another one that was up for it too. I can't remember, but Eddie's the one that they were gunning for. There was another actor, and I can't think of who it was, because they wanted a black actor for the fourth Ghostbuster. Because originally there was only ever supposed to be 3, and then they added the fourth one on the fly as they were filming. They're like, you know what, we need another person. So they really quickly wrote another character out. And a lot of Winston's lines were on the fly. So most of what you see with Winston or any interactions with Winston in the first movie are improv. Like the Twinkie with Egon. They're talking about the Twinkie. Right. That whole scene is improv.
Which is actually perfect for the movie, though, when you're actually thinking about it. Whenever he's talking about the building and the way that everything Gozer set up, everything is like a giant Twinkie, was perfect.
Yeah.
If you think about it. And get this, it's actually a callback to the marshmallow ending, though, that we got to.
Yep.
If you think about it.
But yeah, I think you said it was like 80% of Winston's lines and 80% of any interactions that they had with Winston were improv.
Okay.
So, which is a nice little piece of trivia. So when you go back and watch it, you realize that they kind of really didn't know what the fuck they were doing at this point. And it was a really quick turnover to get this movie out, too. They literally had just finished editing the shit out of this movie about 4 hours before the premiere.
Yeah, I remember.
They literally ran the film into the theater and put it on the reel with 5 minutes to go.
Could you imagine the guy in the editing room? Especially there's no such thing as digital or anything like that. It's like, come on, dude. Come on, hurry up. Hold on, I gotta put this little slice in here on the reel. Yeah, you said that about 3 hours ago. We only have 5 minutes to do this. What? And he's like, here, let me help you. It'll be like...
And there's another film that had the same issues. There's actually 2 more films that I can think of that had the same issues. One was Die Hard.
Yep.
And the other one was Days of Thunder.
I forgot about Days of Thunder, but I remember Die Hard.
Yeah. Days of Thunder was rattled with just a shit ton of bad luck there towards post production. And we're talking about actually having to splice film, like not just sitting on a computer and going do 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 do, like actually like literally they would cut the film and put the film back together.
Yep.
Yeah. So this was not an easy process.
I'll tell you what, if you actually watch the movie Super 8 and you're a fan of the old style of the 8mm film, that's actually the perfect way, if you actually think about it, to learn how to actually splice film together, because that's what those kids were doing, was splicing films together and things like that. But
yeah, it's if you ever want to see something, watch some behind the film documentaries of how movies are made, especially the old ones. Like talk about Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, Beverly Hills Cop, Blues Brothers, Animal House, Die Hard, Days of Thunder. Like,
yeah, those that made you.
There were some tight constraints for a lot of them. It's impressive that you got the films that you got when you got them.
Exactly. But it's also shows you, and this is actually the directors on how they actually quote it, the movie gods, and the way things are perceived. And sometimes it works in their favor.
Yeah.
And everything. It's like they roll the nat 10, and it just works out perfectly for them.
Oh yeah, I mean, Ghostbusters is a perfect example of that. I mean, they could have easily had. We're talking about just the editing part of it. Their funding was terrible. They not only were they shooting the movie, but they shot the movie not once, but they shot it twice. Because one was with them calling them Ghostbusters, and the other what the crowd saying Ghostbusters all the time, and the other one was I can't remember, Ghost Breakers or something like that. It was really lame ass name.
Was it Earthquake?
No. Well, a lot of it was during the earthquake scene when you had the crowd going Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters, yeah, Ghostbusters. Okay, like that's what a lot of it was. And they tried to get the crowd to yell something like Ghost Breakers or something instead of Ghostbusters, and the crowd's like, you know what, fuck you, it's Ghostbusters. And the reason why this was an issue is because there was an animated show that was done back in the 70s called Ghostbusters. And so there was a whole bit with the rights and trying to buy the rights, and then the company that ended up owning the animated series Ghostbusters ended up buying out the movie studio that was originally going to put out the Ghostbusters movie. And then so they're like, you know what? We own both of you now, so this property can go fuck itself because it's done and it's over with. So you guys can have the name now. And it's just
it's complete mayhem.
I'm not even doing the story justice. Just watch the Netflix series, the one that you said about movies that made us.
Yeah, the movies that
watch the Die Hard one, watch the Ghostbusters one, and you'll be like, how in the hell did we get so lucky to get these movies? Because we shouldn't have got, in reality, we should never have got these movies.
Like I said, it's just the luck of the draw that we actually got these movies. I'm happy that we got Die Hard. I'm happy that we got 2 Ghostbusters films under our belt, even though maybe the second one is not as good as the first one. But
could have had a third if it wasn't for Bill Murray.
Right.
Just throwing that out there. I got to throw that out there. That's the number one reason why I do not like Bill Murray, because he completely squashed the idea of a third movie. Granted, we did get The Game, which technically is the third film. But you ask anybody on that cast, that's the third film, minus Sigourney Weaver and Harold Ramis.
If you think about it,
kind of still pisses me off. They're not in that game, but whatever.
Right. But to be honest with you, during that time, Bill Murray was young. young enough to actually put on the pack again to play that role. You would have
Yeah.
Harold that was still alive during that time, and he
Mhm.
could have put on the pack.
Yeah, we could have had a full trilogy of great Ghostbusters. I mean, second one, I still say the second one's a low point. Like Ghostbusters is God tier. Ghostbusters 2 is probably like B.
Maybe
I'll
middle
give it a
ground.
B. And then the game, I'd say I'd give an A because I feel like the game was better than the second movie. But
Okay.
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't played the game, so I can't really give it a good ranking or anything like that. So I
The
wish they would
game is
actually.
addicting. I'll tell you
That's
right
what I was
now.
gonna
You
say.
play that game, it's short, but it's super addicting.
I have a quick question now. Did they remaster it? Because I thought they did at one
Yes.
time.
Yes. Yes, they did. They do have a remaster on PS4 and Xbox One.
Okay, I'm gonna have to find out how much that is so I can
I think
give
it's
it a
only
look
like
and
$12.
Really? Okay.
I think. I could be wrong, but I think it's only like $12.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, you can't play multiplayer on the remasters, though.
That sucks. But
Yeah.
still.
Because I would love to play you in some Ghostbusters, because the Ghostbusters online play was fun as hell.
You see, like I said, I wish I had the experience to go back in time and whenever I was working for a movie gallery and they had it on the shelf.
You should have grabbed it.
I know. At that time, I'm like, PlayStation 2, I was more into other stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love the Ghostbusters, but I was just into other video games
Yeah.
at that time. And I'm like, I'll come back to this later, but later never came. So.
Well, it is. I know it's remastered, and it should be on PlayStation Store.
Okay.
So.
All right. So.
But only other thing I wanted to mention is I love the fact that we didn't get to see Annie Potts, we didn't get to see Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, or Ernie Hudson in the trailer for Afterlife. They're holding all. I don't know. Rick's not in this one, is he?
No, he's not confirmed, but I'm still holding out hope. Maybe he's not cat.
And Sigourney Weaver wasn't focused in on this one either. They didn't show anybody from the original cast, which has a lot of people like, oh, they're probably only going to make like a 5-minute cameo appearance. I see them actually being more influential than what you might think.
I'm thinking that the kids are going to have the packs on, and once it comes down to the grind of it,
when they're gonna put the packs on, think they're cool as shit, going to get their asses kicked, and then they're going to reach out to somebody like Dan Aykroyd's character, or they're going to reach out to Ray, and they're going to be like, hey,
what if it's like this?
This is what's going on. Can you help us? And then everybody's going to show up and be like, okay, so this is what you did, this is what you should have done, and this is what you're going to do. Well, we're too old for this shit.
But what if they did it like this? What if they notice on the news that there's a bunch of ghosts running around and these kids are in that hearse and recognizes the fact that it's
and they recognize it as Ecto-1?
Yeah. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then there's these kids with the proton packs and like, what the hell are these kids doing? So they have to be like, look,
they're showing the town, like
right. And you know what though? I could actually say, okay, kids, you handled it up to this point. Now let the big guys play.
Or maybe they team up together.
True. But I'm excited.
Oh yeah. Afterlife needs to get here. I mean, even if we at this point put it on HBO Max, whatever. I was hoping to see Greenland in theaters, and I watched Greenland on
a smaller screen.
On Vudu.
Right.
And you know what? I loved it. I loved Greenland. And if I got a chance to see it in theaters, I definitely would.
Right.
But it is what it is in this day and age. Any other thoughts on anything?
No, I think that's everything that I wanted to touch on as far as Ghostbusters go. What about you, though? Anything else that you wanted to touch on?
Not really. I mean, other than the music's iconic.
Right. Of
You can
course.
play that music for anybody at any place, and people are going to be like, I know that. It's basically what the Avengers and Star Wars are, or Star Trek. It's in that tier of music. And I wish that movies nowadays would go back to the old school way of doing music, because I can just sit here and think about scenes like him twirling in the park there with the pigeons. I can hear that music in my head while I'm talking about that.
Same.
Or going to the library at the beginning. I hear that music when I'm talking about that. Like, you show me an image of Ghostbusters and I can hear the music while I'm looking at the image.
Same as well. I have a huge heart for this film, for these first two films. I can't wait until Afterlife gets here. But these two films are iconically classic, in my opinion. And also, too, I also remember having the Ghostbusters cereal. Whenever
and the Ecto High C.
Yep.
You remember them?
Yeah, I remember that.
Did they just bring that back again? Because when they thought the Afterlife was going to come out initially, then they were bringing stuff out like that again?
Yeah. Fun fact. Never mind. I was thinking of a different cereal box. Forget that. Because on Comic Book Man, I was thinking of the cereal that was brought in. It was like supposed to be old cereal. It was actually just the Batman cereal box that they had. But I was thinking for some reason it was Ghostbusters. But I remember, I remember just eating my Ghostbusters cereal and watching Ghostbusters. Like I said, I was all decked out with Ghostbusters stuff as a kid. So
I need to watch the Ghostbusters cartoon again to see if I can even muster through it, because I remember the Ghostbusters cartoon for me was a hard sell before. And now that I'm an adult, as much as I love the Ghostbusters, I want to try and watch it again. But I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it.
I don't know.
I'm going to try.
To be honest with you, I don't know if it's going to hold that same flavor for me, because I remember as a kid, I was eating that up. So it might be the reverse effect for me, where I don't even like the cartoon anymore.
Like, I want to introduce the kids to the Ghostbusters cartoon. They're old enough now to enjoy it for what it is.
I think they'll like it.
So, all right. So I did my plugs at the beginning. I will let you do your plugs now.
All right.
So I will.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you want to put up my plug for Twitter, and that'll ease off some of the plugs I have to do.
All right, and then I'll make you full screen.
Okay, so if you guys want to, go on ahead and follow me on Instagram at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there. You can also follow me on Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook. We also have a website called www.movieloversunite.com for all your entertainment needs and pleasures. Go ahead, go over there and follow us over there. Another thing too, guys, is if you guys want to donate to my show, just go on ahead, go to www.gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Unite over there. Frenchie and I also do a trailer reaction videos that drops on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But we've been hitting it here and there on certain spots. But, go on ahead, take a look at the Neighbors Watching Trailers section of the YouTube channel. Another thing, too, is you can find all my audio stuff wherever you get your podcast from if you want to go ahead and check that out. And, of course, on YouTube as well. I'm also on stereo at Movie Lovers Unit. And, of course, you can follow me as the link below says. Follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit, and then of course at John DeGorio 8. And then if you want to get in touch with me, just go ahead, go to movieloversunite@gmail.com, and those are all the places that you can reach me at.
All right, sounds good. And as always, you can always reach me at anything that deals with Hotel Nerd. Honestly, just look up Hotel Nerd, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. We got a lot of stuff coming. We also have a newsletter that we started producing, and I'll be putting that up on Twitter once it launches here on the 1st. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed our talk on Ghostbusters. If we missed anything, please let us know. Comment below and we'll respond to you. I'm sure that John keeps an eye on comments in the videos that he's in, so if people address him, that he can respond in real time as well as I do.
Yep.
So, but yeah, if we missed anything or you think that we messed anything up, I mean, let's be real here. They're old movies, and I mean, I don't know how long it's been since you've seen them. I just recently seen the first one myself because I make it like a Halloween tradition for me to watch the first one. That's always on my list.
I saw it maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3, the most.
So, I mean, our memories might be a little sketch.
Right. But overall, still a fun movie.
Oh, yeah. Always. And if we messed up, tell us. And if you agree with our opinions and our thoughts, let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Hell, dislike the video for all I care, because every interaction that we have, it helps with the YouTube algorithm. So, but with that, have yourselves a good night, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Yeah, absolutely, John. And we'll catch you on the next episode of Let's Talk.